Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, everybody, the penultimate edition of the TexAgs High School Football Show. I'm Ryan Brauninger, Jason Howell, getting ready for state semifinal action after a wild quarterfinal/regional final weekend across the state of Texas. I'm kind of on a streak right now, Jason, of seeing just absolute bangers. I mean, I saw
No doubt.
3 really good games last weekend. 2 of them were amongst the best that I've ever covered. But I'll save that until you say your piece about what you saw there in Dallas and get you. What'd you see in the weekend with your own eyes, and then maybe some scores that stood out around the area?
Yeah, I don't know if it was quite as exciting as your weekend, but I had Friday night. I was back in Choctaw. Man, there's something about that place. Just kept calling me back this playoff season. But I was back in Choctaw to see South Oak Cliff and Melissa go head to head, and saw a great game on my own. It was a real physical ball game. Both teams were throwing some big punches. South Oak Cliff proved to be too much in the end, pulled away for a 30-16 lead. But this is a game. Sock got out to a 9-0 lead, had an early safety, and Melissa answered right back with a touchdown and a safety of their own. And you're tied at 9 in the second quarter. Sock went to the half, leading 12-9. It was back and forth, and Melissa went to the fourth quarter with a 16-15 lead. South Oak Cliff, Danny Green with 28 carries for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was the offense for the Golden Bears. Keith Smith with a 2-point conversion. Give Melissa some credit though. Really held Javon Thomas, who's been averaging, I want to say like 30 yards or over 20 yards a carry the last 2 games to 18 yards on 10 carries. Just great team effort by South Oak Cliff. Melissa gave them all they wanted. Tons of college coaches on the sidelines. A&M had a couple in BGA and Coach Rushing there. Saw Texas and Rice and Tech there. It was a really cool atmosphere with a great game, and South Oak Cliff advances to face off with Argyle this week. And then on Saturday, South Lake Carroll and Denton Geyer in Justin, Texas, right there next to the Texas Motor Speedway. And they kicked it off, in hurried fashion. They didn't waste any time getting down to the nitty gritty. Jackson Arnold scores on a breakaway touchdown just a few plays into the game. I think there was like 10 and a half minutes left in the first quarter when he punched it in. And then Owen Allen answers right back, breaking free for their score. And you're 7-7 in the first quarter. Then Geyer took control, scored 21 unanswered points. And they never looked back. Went to the half 31-14. The defense led by Peyton Bowen swarmed all over the place. Bowen did not have an interception or a punt return for a touchdown this game. So, I mean, he took a step back, if you will. But he did have an interception and a nice return that was wiped out by a pass interference penalty that I don't know. Go check the tape I posted. It looked pretty clean to me. So Tyler White, South Lake Carroll's punter and all-around specialist, was 3 for 3 on point afters, pinned a punt inside the 1, and dealt with some pretty serious wins. So it was a good effort by Tyler, and South Lake gave them all. Gave a great effort, but Geyer's there's a reason why I picked Geyer to win state, and they continue to look like that. They're on that trajectory. Again, tons of college coaches, Texas A&M showing strong on the sidelines, 5 coaches in attendance, including Dirk and Santucci, rushing BGA and Price, all there. to take in the action, kind of make sure Peyton Bowen felt the presence a little bit. And then just around the Metroplex, I mean, Argyle was tested by Abilene Wiley. They pulled away for a 35-28 win. Aledo was tied at 21 with Burleson Centennial before they were able to score 21 unanswered to pull away for the 42-21 win over their district rival there. Westfield gave Duncanville a nice little scare, but they were able to hold on for that win. And my lone loss, I think this weekend, I picked Louisville over Prosper, but Prosper again, man, they're showing that that district, man. Prosper, Denton Geyer, shoot, man, they're both right there in the mix, and they were able to pull away for a physical 24-13 win. So yeah, those are a few things.
A
couple big.
Anna ran out of steam.
Yeah,
but what a great
very
run!
Decisive win.
Yeah, but China Spring is, man, they are just absolutely, and that would have been one hell of a gauntlet for Anna to have to run, right? And just ran out of steam. But we both picked China Spring to win the state championship, and they look like they're well on their way to doing that again. And then I wanted to talk about Longview.
Yeah.
Because, they made history with Haynes King a few years ago when they won state. But this team looks better than that one by a few miles, man. I mean, they are absolutely rolling right now.
If there was any doubt about Longview and what they brought to the table going into the season, they've answered it time and time again. They've been a favorite to win state, and they weren't number one preseason. They were very close to it.
Yeah, but I just surprised that nobody's really even pushing them.
Yeah, and you got Taylor Tan, man. Oh my goodness gracious,
he just incredible year.
What he set a Longview record for touchdowns and yardage or something in a season or something like that. Jalen Hell's doing his thing. They just play tough, hard-nosed football, and they got a big one with Aledo this weekend. That is going to be a knockdown drag-out for sure. I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, that regional final round, I think we mentioned it, there were 11 or 12 rematches across the state. And I think only in 3 of those were the outcomes different from the first time. So 3 teams that had gotten beaten early in the year reversed course and were able to win the game and advance into the playoffs, into the state semifinal round this week. And I'm going to get to one of those here in just a second. But I had a doubleheader on Friday at NRG Stadium in Houston, and got up there early to see Silsbee against Cuero. I didn't know anything about Cuero. They had been actually just kind of rolling through people, and I heard they could really run the football. And it turned into really the Draylon Miller versus Cuero game, and what an absolute just knockdown, drag out, back and forth. Silsbee goes into the half leading 20-7. Cuero comes back in the second half, scores the first 2 touchdowns, and then we're back on, even playing field there, and it was just back and forth for the entirety of the regulation. The tie game, Silsbee's got the ball last. They're driving. They hit Draylon Miller. First of all, they hit Draylon Miller inside the 5, but his momentum is taking him out of bounds. So the clock stops with 3 seconds left. They're on the 4-yard line. They bring out the field goal. Actually, with 5 seconds left, they were going to, I would imagine, throw another jump ball to Draylon Miller with 5 seconds left. False start. And so they decide to bring in the field goal unit. The snap is not the greatest. It's barely put on the tee, and it's mishit. And like a 21-yard field goal or a 26-yard field goal hits the bottom right corner between the upright and the crossbar. So, like, agonizingly close. So we go to overtime. Cuero scores. Silsbee has to score. And they, on 4th and 13, throw a ball short to Draylon Miller, and he's got 6 Cuero gobblers around him. And somehow
that video's nasty.
Houdini's his way through that for a first down and a touchdown to keep the game going. We go into alternating 2-point conversions in the third overtime. Silsby, Draylon Miller makes a one-handed catch but he's out of bounds when his foot comes down. And then Cuero is able to convert to their 2024 tight end who had a monster game, Nathan Lucien. To find him over the middle, just squeezed it between two defenders, and Cuero wins and just sideline erupts, enormous celebrations. But, I mean, that game could have gone either way from the fourth quarter all the way through the third overtime. Just so many plays where the outcome was hanging in the balance. So it was so much fun, such high drama there. And that got me ready for the nightcap between Katy and C.E. King. And I'm going to tell you what, at halftime, Katy was winning 28-27, and C.E. King had 300 yards passing at the half. So that really talented roster that we talked so much about, you mentioned the Prosper District, Allen, Denton, Geyer, that district. C.E. King's out of that Houston district with them, Summer Creek, North Shore, and Atascocita. So they're battle-tested. They weren't intimidated by Katy. And they went into the half down a point, and then they come out in the first play of the second half. They throw a little bubble screen to a slot wide receiver who was fantastic on the night named Ray G. Daly. And he goes 70 yards to the house. C.E. King leads 34-28 with about 11 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third quarter. From that point forward, Katy scored, I think, 29 unanswered points. And really, at the end of the game, everybody was just kind of waiting for the thing to be run out so we could get out of there. So Katy went from upset scare to pull away 20-point win in typical Katy fashion. I think it was, a 22-point win, 56-34 for Coach Gary Joseph and the Tigers to move on to the state semifinals where they're going to play. I mentioned all those rematch games in the state quarterfinals. One of them was Austin Vandergrift Dripping Springs. Dripping Springs won the game in week one. Austin Vandergrift wins by a field goal over Dripping Springs to advance, and they'll play Katy in the 6A Division II semifinals. And so those two games were outstanding just in and of themselves, would have made for a fantastic Texas high school football weekend for me. I go to sleep, wake up the next day, and really I guess I could have got on the team bus with the College Station Cougars as close as I lived to their school, but drive over to Pflugerville to see College Station and Smithson Valley. And Jason, the drama in this one late. College Station was kind of in control of the game, 26-14. And there was like 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I even tweeted, like, if Smithson Valley is going to get into this game, they've got to start doing something on offense. Both teams was kind of trading punts for a while, a turnover here and there, but nobody could really – College Station couldn't pull away, and then Smithson Valley couldn't crack into the lead. Well, they did it when they had to. I think with about 5 minutes left, Smithson Valley scores to make it a 26-21 game. They kick it off to College Station. And I think it was maybe a first. Anyway, it was College Station's getting ready to punt with about a minute left in the game. Snap back to the punter. He goes to drop it, and he dropped it off to the side where he couldn't kick it. So it's kind of like Michigan State. Remember that play where Michigan just drops the snap and they returned it? Well, College Station's punter picks it up and tries to kick it, but when he picks it up, his knees are on the ground. No. So Smithson Valley's got it with less than a minute left from the 4-yard line. They need a touchdown to win it. Like they're going to win the game if they score. Well, they go incompletion, and then the next play is a sack. But on the sack, it's a sack, then they try to trick play. And on the trick play, College Station tackles them for a big loss, but a face mask on the tackle. So then it's half the distance from the 2 or from the 4 where it was. So now it's first and goal, and they've got 4 shots with about 20 seconds left, no timeouts. It comes down to a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, and College Station defensive back Harrison Robinson stuffs the Smithson Valley run attempt behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, just it's the agony that you see from the Smithson Valley kids, and obviously Colton Thomason, a kid that we've both covered since he was in 8th grade. You see the hurt and the disappointment and the agony of defeat, all while the College Station side is just sprinting on the field, celebrating like madmen. I mean, it's really
what a story there.
Yeah, and it's really the a juxtaposition of emotion, right? When you're sitting there watching it all happen. And Coach Stoney Pryor and the Cougars advanced to a state semifinal. And it's funny, if you remember that state final they played last year against Katy Paetow, it was a 4th and 1 that they couldn't get a stop on that ended up winning the game for Paetow. It was a quarterback sneak that Paetow converted to extend the game in overtime, and College Station couldn't get a stop. This year, even after the coaching changes and the injury to Marquise Collins, and Nate Palmer moves to Decatur, and they're right back in a 4th and 1 situation deep into the playoffs, and they make the stop this year. I think it says so much about the culture they've got at College Station and the job that Coach Pryor has done in year 1. And now they're going to go play a Corpus Christi Vets team with a chance to return to AT&T Stadium as a state finalist. So pretty incredible run for the Cougars.
That's awesome.
So
just a wild weekend. We talked about
weekend.
this pregame at SOC. I mean, at this time of year, you see those program wins and College Station.
Yep.
My goodness. What they've done, what they continue to do, coaching changes, injuries, player departures, everything. Yep. They have that mindset. They have that championship mindset, and you got to love it.
Coach Huff and the Decatur Eagles and Nate Palmer still playing in 4A Division I?
Yeah, I believe so.
But they're still
I got it all down here. Yeah. Let's see. They are.
But hold on, I did want to.
4A D1. Yeah,
I did want to mention too. You talk about program wins. Port Neches Groves upsets Fort Bend Marshall in Jeff Joseph's first season. So how about the coming weekend for the Joseph family? Both father and son going to be playing for a potential trip to the state finals. That's got to be really, really cool for that family. And I mentioned it to a lot of people, and I may have said it on the show last week, but if there was a team in the region that could beat Fort Bend Marshall, it was going to be P&G because of how big they are up front. And now, so you defend extremely well against all that speed and spread offense of Fort Bend Marshall. And what is your reward when you get to the state semifinal? The crown kings of the slot T Mafia in Liberty Hill. And they've been, with that slot T, they've been scoring 60 points, I think, 3 times in the playoffs. So I'll be at that one on Friday. But so some really cool stories across the state.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I kind of always root for, I mean, obviously SOC won it last year. So, like, I'd like to see somebody else. Like, Argyle's such a cool story. So, like, maybe we see some different faces there in AT&T Stadium, but this weekend will determine a lot. And there's some really interesting matchups between these Region 3 and Region 4 schools, which San Antonio to the Valley to Corpus Christi, can they etch their name on a ticket to AT&T Stadium? So, Jason, where will you be for this state semifinal round?
Well, Friday, I will be at South Oak Cliff, Argyle, and Crowley ISD Stadium. Should be a fun one there. And then Saturday, I'm going to be at Kincaid Stadium in Dallas for Aledo Longview. I've got 2 that you're going to have to buckle that chin strap because these are 4 teams that are going to get down to business. I expect a lot of physicality and a lot of emotion as we get down to the nitty gritty here. Really, really looking forward to it. And like you said, there's so many games to choose from. It was hard to pick one, but I couldn't miss those 2 for sure.
Well, on Thursday night, I will be at Legacy. I should be at Legacy Stadium in Katy on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, Franklin against Edna. Franklin survived a big scare from Columbus. And remember, I told you about Columbus, man. They got a Schobel kid back there playing quarterback. And Columbus is going to be good for a while. It seems like they're pretty young too. But Franklin against the Edna Cowboys on Thursday night. Then Friday, Port Neches Groves against Liberty Hill. And then on Saturday, and I can't believe we haven't discussed this matchup yet, Saturday at 2 o'clock at Rice Stadium in Houston, the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs against the Austin Westlake Chaparrals. I mean, as big of a matchup in the state of Texas as you can get, right? I mean,
no doubt.
That's probably the 2 best programs running right now in the state. When you look at Westlake trying to make it 4 in a row, and then North Shore would make it 3 out of 4? or 4
Yeah,
out
I
of
mean, you got to
5s.
put Katie up there.
But listen,
No
North Shore.
doubt.
I think
Yeah,
North Shore is ahead of Katy because of the run North
yeah,
Shore's been on, and North Shore hoisting the trophy more than Katy has. And
yeah.
so I would imagine if you had to really sit down there and look at it, I would think that Austin Westlake and North Shore are the best 2 programs in the state right now. And there's some that are close, but in terms of
Make a case, yeah.
holding the trophy at the end of the year, those 2 may be the best. So that should be an absolute knockdown, drag out there at Rice Stadium in Houston. Jason, I'll see you next week.
We can't wait. We can't go just yet. We got to at least mention these games. You got, like you said, Decatur, China Spring, Guyer, and DeSoto.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if you're in the Frisco area, if you're in DFW, you want to see some football, get out to that game. You're going to see a ton of college prospects and 2 really great teams going at it. Canadian and Gunter in 3AD2. I mean, whoever wins that is going to be the favorite to win
What
state
about
there.
Refugio Timpson 2AD1?
Exactly. That was where I was going to next.
We're going to have
man.
Walker Lott at that one.
I was going to say, we better have somebody there because I got a feeling there's going to be plenty of highlights, plenty of scoring.
Terry Bussey making a case for player of the year in that classification for sure. But yeah, like if you're an A&M fan watching this, obviously the Aggies don't have much to do. And really, there's no college football this weekend either. If you're a college football fan watching this, get out to these Texas high school football games and enjoy them. Get to multiple. You go to a Friday one, find a Saturday one, get out there and really enjoy it because these are, I mean, the intensity and the emotion that's on every play. And, every one could be the one that changes the game. So, these things are always hanging in the balance each time the ball is snapped. So I'm looking forward, Jason. I know you are. And then I guess we'll have to film this early next week as we get prepared for state championships, and I'm be getting in the car and headed your way.
No doubt.
All right, Good for times. Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. Thanks for watching the TexAgs High School Football Show.